Welcome. Thank you for joining us, Catalina. So this is Catalina Jean, and she is an SEO expert, and she can make it really fun for you. Tell us about where you are calling from, or where you are right now, and what it is like there for you.
Yeah, so I am located in Portland, Oregon. It's definitely one of the states that I think has some more, kind of more restrictive things in place. And I'm also in Multnomah County, so we're even a few steps behind some of the other counties. So yeah, so for right now, it's sort of been rumored that large events, pretty much, we're not sure of the number, are probably not going to be allowed. I've heard through September, or at least until a vaccine is available. So it's been a little strange to have on-season start and not actually be able to start working. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
just been a lot of reschedules and just sort of shifting into this new norm. I had felt very, I've been shooting full time for just about 8 years, and kind of felt like in a stride, like I finally, like, your first few years are just like figuring everything out, and I was like, okay. And so to have this hit, it definitely feels like I was like, whoa, you got to I had to like sort of reformat a lot of things, and you want to be flexible. So, but
yeah,
yeah, it's been weird.
yeah, totally. It's taken everybody by surprise. No one could see this coming, and I saw this little meme on Facebook or Instagram where someone was just like drawing like on paper. It was like no, bride before 2020, and it was like bride and then a line down to like wedding, and then for like after 2020, it's like bride and then the line heads towards the wedding, and then does all these squiggles and like curves, and and then almost like touches it, and then it goes down to like elopement.
Mhm. Yep.
So yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know. It's kind of weird, but there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do during this time when everything is really difficult traditionally. There's a lot of things that you can build, and that is why I'm really excited you're here, because you can teach us about SEO in a way that isn't going to like make our brains melt.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes. So
totally.
can you give an overview of, I mean, yeah, an overview of SEO, what it is, why it matters, and how you approach it differently?
Totally. Yeah. I definitely sort of fell into the SEO world and kind of learned it backwards. So I think now at least SEO is talked about a bit more in our industry. But when I started, I don't think I had my first like other photographer friends until maybe year three. So I was just like pretty alone on my computer, like watching Jasmine Star videos and like
Oh
just trying
yeah,
to like, right? Just
I
trying to like
remember that.
figure it out. And, I had set up a bunch of Craigslist ads, that my like studio was opening up for weddings, but I had shot like one wedding, just trying to like sound way more official than I was, and just hitting refresh on an inbox that just waiting for an inquiry to come in. And yeah, I just remember just, because I was Googling to learn so many things. And so I started to
Yeah.
Google just kind of throwing in different things. And I wanted to figure out, okay, why are these businesses listed over others? Why is this content listed above others? And so I kind of learned it by then clicking to those pages and starting to see the differences between websites and between content, and what the differences were that seemed to lead to rankings. So I actually just sort of learned that way by kind of just looking at what other people I were doing. And I made a lot of mistakes along the way, but I was able to get a lot of my content to page one before I even knew what SEO officially was, that was like
Uh,
the acronym um, behind it. And then I was absolutely addicted. It turned into this huge obsession for years. And now my content and blog posts are, I don't even know at this point how many keywords. I currently monitor about 150 of my main keywords, and those are all on the first page, with consistently over 500 inquiries a year. which is fantastic. About 70 of that coming from organic SEO.
Wow.
So that's kind of my background. And so it's cool because it's a lot more, the steps you can take are easy once you kind of understand the fundamentals. And the algorithm for Google is just so much easier to understand than like Instagram's algorithm that seems a bit more random. This one is, you can follow steps and actually see a payoff, which is really nice.
Is Matt Cutts still the person that gives like the final word on the algorithm? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I don't know if I know. I feel like I read so many like SEO blog posts, but there's always like quotes from a bunch of people. I'll have to look that up.
Yes. So when I did kind of a similar journey with my wedding photography business in Seattle,
Oh, cool.
where I was trying to rank. It was very basic. It was like I was trying to rank for Seattle wedding photography, on somewhere on the front page. And I remember trying to learn as much as I could about SEO, and it was always like down to what Matt Cutts said, and he was the person at Google that would announce changes in the algorithm. So
Okay.
everyone would be like all set up, and you thought you had it all figured out, and then he'd be like, "Oh no, you don't want to have that many keywords in this part. It's now this, or like we don't even count meta tags now, or we've switched it to this. You can't have pages that don't link anywhere, they're just stuffed with keywords and whatever, all that stuff." So that's where Matt Cutts comes from. But
yeah, I think it's like I believe it's a new person now. I can't think of their name. I usually find their updates when like Search Engine Journal puts out like the Google updates. Mueller is like, I feel like the really big person right now.
like
So I may have
Bueller.
I may have not been as learning it as officially at that time. But yeah, it's still like that. It's still, I think probably a lot more then, because a lot of the practices then of putting in a lot of keywords or having to have a separate page for like every keyword variation. So like, Seattle wedding photography, Seattle wedding photographer, that's kind of an old thing.
Very old style, like misspellings of things and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that you monitor. So tell me about SEO like I'm a 5-year-old, like the Reddit style. So like, what does SEO stand for? What are the keywords that you monitor? And give me an example of like how you go from a keyword that you monitor to a client, like booking a client. How does that work?
Totally. Yeah. So I think that's a great question, because SEO is like this kind of like weird acronym. I see a lot of people ask like, how do I, do SEO? Or so I love to like take it a few steps back with looking at what that, basic, like the very basic terminology of what it means is just search engine optimization. So my biggest thing is the big 2 words in there is search engine. So understanding how search engines actually work. I use Google as probably the top example. I mean, we've seen like Ask Jeeves come and, but
I remember that one.
Right. So there is competing search engines. They want to be the go-to for their users, and Google made its way to the top, to the point that they are basically like a dictionary term to just Google it. That's, you don't say like Bing it or like Yahoo it. And there's a reason behind that. And it's their algorithm shows the best content that we can trust. So they design their algorithm with that in mind. So they follow steps to basically look at a website and content to see if it falls into that algorithm, and which has been constantly changing, like we just mentioned. But the end goal always being the content that's going to best serve its users' query, whatever we type into actually into Google. And the way it kind of does that, this is kind of like I don't know, I have a lot of weird metaphors and dad jokes in my teachings, but I know an algorithm, it seems like kind of obscure, but really all it is code. And then the thing that connects Google from Google to our websites are these things called crawlers. And the crawlers head to websites, they head to blog posts, and they read through everything that's on the site. They take all the information, like content, organization, headings, all the things, and try to understand what the page is about. And they basically take it back into a library. Because when the internet was first a thing, websites were being created, and without the specific URL, you couldn't find a website you were looking for. So then directories became more of a thing. So at least you could go to, basically websites within a website. You could at least get to dogsdirectory.com and find information about dog training and breeds.
Yeah.
And that eventually became, more and more complex as the internet became such a large thing. And so Google is basically this big library. And those crawlers that I mentioned, I love to call them robot spider librarians. So basically, Google is a huge library.
Terrifying.
Yeah. I have this drawing in my main teaching. It's horrifying. I had my friend try it. It's pretty bad. But I think it gives a good visual. Instead of, sort of this like SEO, search engine optimization, we want to understand what's in the robot spider librarian's handbook. What are they looking for? And kind of working backwards from there helps us understand the steps that we take. I think understanding that Google has customers that it's keeping happy, understanding that the code written into the crawlers has specific things it is looking for, and then more working backwards from there than just like SEO rules, like, oh, you just put this here or name this like this. I think thinking like that it can be easy to at least approach the basics, but I'm a big encourager with my students to also experiment. I've definitely experimented with things that there isn't written rules or written SEO blog posts out there, to just see what works. Some of those totally fail and they go nowhere. And some of them, become some of my larger campaigns. And
cool.
Yeah, but it's like if you can stay within the at least within the realm of thinking about Google and its customers and creating great content that a little robot can even understand. Starting there is one of the better ways, and then you can approach the more SEO rules and blog posts, and you can filter through mentally, like, okay, that's not for my industry, because there's some things that apply in SEO to some industries and not to others, and be able to be better at customizing it. Since we are the experts of our industry, we know what our customers are searching, and that's a big reason why there's things like keyword planners and stuff like that. I don't really use them that often, except to look at traffic sometimes. But I consider myself my best keyword planner because I know my clients so well and I know my customer behavior.
So in light of that it's ever changing, there's rules that aren't even out there that you're trying to discover through experiments. What are kind of the biggest errors that you see photographers making in their own SEO? For example, there was this whole time period where every single blog post that I saw from every photographer would be like Minneapolis wedding photographer, and then like Andy and Julia, and then would be like, I love being a Minneapolis, wedding photographer in Minneapolis. Wedding photography is really great, and Andy and Julia are the best clients I could have for my Minneapolis wedding photography business. And then every picture is named Minneapolis wedding photographer, etc. But can you tell me, like, what mistakes are people making now without this knowledge that you have?
Yeah, I still see that one sometimes for sure, or at very least, that they put in every single blog post title at the end, like California wedding photographer, something like that. I think more and more people know now that that's not the way to go about it, but it's still out there as something. I think some people will see others doing it, and then it just, sort of escalates from there. And it stinks because there isn't a great amount of information out there to really check. So we're just trying to, get by. That's still something I see. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is understanding that your website, your pages, and your blog posts really target separate things. So adding, Seattle wedding photographer at the end of all your blog posts, if you picture your little robot spider coming to a blog post, and they're like, wait, but your homepage is a Seattle wedding photographer. This content, I'm trying to understand and put it in the library. And, a lot of times it'll say, or one of the major things I see now is, a Yosemite elopement, California adventure elopement photographer, mountain, adding a lot of these things. And my little, library comes to this title and is like, well, is this about a Yosemite elopement? Is this about an adventurous mountain wedding photographer? So that's like a first step of just even thinking about how a librarian would put books in a library.
Interesting.
So just saying and I think like, and I almost like kind of hate the term keywords. I think it's definitely changed a lot away from that to more like a topic. So what is the topic of your blog post? So just kind of defining that and thinking about what your customers are searching and then connecting those two. Somebody might definitely be searching, Yosemite elopement, who's considering eloping there, and having something that is a topic around Yosemite elopements. And that makes it so much easier to build out. So then think about, if you were researching for your Yosemite elopement, what kind of information are you looking for? Are you looking for tips on locations, times of day, and of course photo examples, but photos are a pretty low part when it comes to SEO. A lot of other industries, like the one I point out a lot is the recipe industry. We all know looking up a recipe, clicking on a blog post, and you're like, oh my God, why are they talking about their grandma for 1,000 words?
Yeah. Show me the recipe first.
And they want you to scroll past all their ads and like all the things, but it's definitely an SEO tactic because they're writing an article, like they're writing a nice beefy article that even tells more of a story than the recipe. They're giving like a really beefy piece of content. Now I will say recipes, they tend to be, that's so much wording. But for us, we have an opportunity to not only get to page one, but provide really helpful information that will, be able to convert a client. And that's where I really like moving away from keywords and thinking about the only goal is getting to page one. I think that's definitely an error. You can fit in within the goals of what Google's looking for while also absolutely keeping your customer in mind and building trust initially with them right off that first click. That way they don't hit back to that first page like, this looks spammy, and they look at someone else. You're going to be the one that converts the customer.
You don't want them to just come and bounce, like just like go and be like, Well, we all do that. Every one of us when we're surfing the internet. Do people still say that?
Yeah, I guess I know. Probably not. TikToking.
Checking out the internet. So, I had a question for you. Okay, so I have a personal question about SEO, and then I have kind of a more general question. So something I've always wondered is there any benefit to having more than one post that's really laser focused on a topic?
Sometimes it's a little, I've done some testing there. A lot of my work has been on really each piece of content really is laser focused on one keyword. And then I move to a new piece of content, a keyword grouping, I should say, because, like a homepage can rank for, and especially now, like we spoke, you don't need different pages with different misspellings or different words. There's, semantic searching. So like if you rank for Seattle wedding photography, you're going to most likely rank for photographer because Google understands that those are all sort of the same query. People just type in different random things. So my easy answer is yes, because taking a piece of content and getting it in front of new keywords in a new group is a great way to go. But you can, I do have blog posts where I will target something that is like more the main topic, and then you can also rank for related subtopics. In a lot of those times, the subtopics are lower competition keywords, so you can snag in a few different topics. So like I have a page that targets Oregon elopements, and some of the subtopics are, and it really targets like Oregon elopement locations, since we're such a elopement heavy area. And some subtopics could be Oregon coast elopement locations, Columbia Gorge elopement locations. Someone might be searching for a specific area as well, and those are going to be lower competition. And with that sort of big beefy piece of content I wrote, I can then also target these other things because they are in relation to my topic as a whole. If that
Got it. Yeah, they're not identical, but they're kind of they're going deep into kind of a general section with like specialized long tail search kind of stuff in each one.
Mhm. Yes.
Um, so with everybody indoors right now, and we can't really go and shoot, it seems like now is a good time to revamp your SEO, or at least like kind of build a strategy for it, because we have time to do that. Is there one thing that you could tell everybody to do, like just one simple trick, um, to make some kind of headway in SEO that they could do at home today?
Totally. Yeah. And I'll give three, because there's a few different things that people can approach that will really start to help them in the long term as they're figuring this out. One of the biggest things, and I've harped on this before, as if anyone's heard me talk, is your website loading speed. As photographers, we tend to, as we're designing our websites as well, sometimes we're pulling in a bunch of random image files and we're not watching the size of the images that we're putting
Yes.
into our websites. So even if you have a very strong, if you end up getting very strong with your SEO campaigns and you get to page one, as like you said, people bounce very quickly. So having a website that doesn't, or blog posts that don't load, in under about 5 seconds, that can be kind of a big thing. So that's a nice homework item. People can check that out. There's one of the easier sites to check your website speed is Pingdom Speed Test. So Pingdom. Yeah, and you can check your website and your blog post there, but that can be a great thing to at least know that speed is not holding you back.
Yes.
Another big thing is adding text to everything. Your homepage, blog posts. Before I kind of knew anything about SEO, I'd always put these little like meaningful love quotes in my blog posts.
Yeah. I see that a lot. Yeah.
Right. And my
that's like Instagram.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And my little librarian comes and looks and goes, I'm looking for a article about some topic. How does this help my searchers? So adding text that helps those librarians understand what your content is about. That's another great thing that people can do. And another one is setting up your Google My Business page. That's another really easy one that's connected into your homepage, and it helps Google understand, especially if your homepage really targets a specific location, like you, Kirk, in Seattle wedding photographer, me in Portland. It really helps Google understand, and Google is going to love its own products, of course. So it's good to sign up for that, add some photos, get some reviews, and make sure your it's called your NAP, your name, address, and phone number, matches up on all your local directories. So whatever you have in your Google My Business, make sure Wedding Wire, the Knot, any free directories that you're part of, make sure they all list the same information, because it will give you called your local citations. So those are three things that are pretty easy that people can work on right now. So when they start diving more into targeting and things like that, at least these things are working for them.
Yes, those are all really great tips. You'd be surprised, or a lot of people, if you've never run a speed test on your website, you will be shocked. You will be shocked, and it will point out which photos are taking up the most bandwidth. And you may have accidentally uploaded a photo that's 4,000 pixels wide, and it's trying to load this like 6 megabyte file, and it's slowing your website down to where you're not going to rank as well, and people are going to hate the experience, and you don't even know it. That's a very good one. And the text also on your website, like having more text. We're all very visual people, so maybe we overlook that a little bit, or we don't want that to like muddy up all of our beautiful photos.
Yes, of course. But with SEO, it's kind of, you have to give away you can do it in a way that is fitting, but this kind of like minimal website with like one photo that says like enter, that kind of thing doesn't give a lot for Google.
Google crawls it, and they're like, this site is about enter. That's it. Copyright 2020. That's really important. A lot of people will create a website, like go through the pain of making a website, and then they like cross the finish line, and then they never look at it again from their client's point of view or from Google's point of view. And that's really too bad, because you don't know how bad the experience is, like for the client or for Google and the spider librarians until you look.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really good advice. That's really important.
No, hopefully this gives some people some things to work on right now. I know it can feel a bit paralyzing at these times. So even if there's some simple things that that they'll know it will help. I hope that will encourage people to at least, kind of jump into it.
Yeah, those are all really good projects. Like just reducing your image sizes, that could take you a whole day, but totally worth it. You can use different programs to compress them.
Yep.
There's programs online. There's lots of different ones, like Tiny PNG is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know, that's what we use. And then also like adding text, that's great. And getting in, what do they call it? The 6-pack, the local listings. Like
Yeah,
if you
local
get
pack. I think it's like a 3-pack now. I may
a 3-pack.
Yeah, it's a 3-pack. It's a rotating 3-pack, but yes, it'll help you get into your local pack. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that is such an easier target to hit also than just getting like globally ranked for Seattle wedding photographer or whatever. So
yeah,
that's really good advice.
Yeah, and it's a nice, like, if you are the first page for Seattle wedding photographer, and then you also have your Google My Business that shows 20, 30, 40 5-star reviews, you're getting some sort of double the real estate on that page, while also immediately at first glance seeing credibility as a business.
Absolutely. Yes. And it's totally cool to go back and ask old clients for reviews if you're just setting it up. Like I did that myself, and a lot of my old clients were really happy to hear from me, and they were totally happy to leave a review and help me get that all set up. Okay, so if people want to dive deeper into SEO, because it goes pretty deep, like there's a lot there. What do you teach in your course? Like, where do you go from these basic tweaks deeper? Like what does your course entail?
Yeah, so my course, it was definitely designed as an SEO basics course. It is the course for people who want to go deeper, but don't want to get too caught up in a lot of the tech things. There's a lot of things that are parts of SEO that businesses our sizes and for the keywords we're going for, they just don't need. So I wanted to create something that was really boiled down to just things you can implement on your website right now that are easy. One of the big things of the course, of course. Sorry. One of the big things of the classes is screen sharing. Walking you through how to create a blog post step by step. What do the Yoast green lights even mean, and when can you disagree with them? There are times when I would say you can. We're smart humans, and Yoast is awesome, but it is a bit of a bot. And one of the big things that my course offers is for both WordPress and Squarespace. I think Squarespace gets overlooked quite a lot, and in the last few years they really upped their game. I will say WordPress, of course, is the gold standard, but if you have a Squarespace site, I'm actually a Squarespace site, and I've stayed a Squarespace site sort of to prove and to kind of buck this idea that you have to have WordPress to rank. And I don't think that is true, just depending on your goals. So I go into utilizing a narrative app. I go over SEO for Pinterest, because Pinterest is a search engine, and how to think about that. Pinterest is an amazing way to continue to drive traffic to your blog posts when you post to Instagram or Facebook, and after a day or two, that reach is a little bit gone. So Pinterest is another great search engine that people are using to search for their weddings. So just to kind of, I wanted to teach something that was a little more like basics, but a holistic approach of everything that I have done to rank. And it's not the hard stuff. It's not the super techie stuff. It can be very simple, but over time, it is work for sure, but over time, doing even simple things very well can really, really pay off. So that's kind of the basis of my course. The big thing the course includes, I'm very big on, the course is sort of a launching pad, but then students are added to a Facebook group that where they're able to continue to ask questions. We also do monthly group video hangs, and we come up with custom strategies. We take a look at what they're doing. So it's not just an online course and then you're sort of left hanging. I'll be at your disposal indefinitely to chat through these things, during this time too, I have been pushing to do 2 of those Q&A meetings a month. So people who want to work on that stuff right now, at least, my students, we can get together. And I think also just being able to talk to other people about strategies and SEO, it's also a great accountability partner and an encouragement partner to keep up on this stuff, and knowing that, some months of work can really, really pay off.
Oh, that's great. Have you had clients or students come to you who are like, I don't know anything about SEO, it's totally intimidating. I'm afraid to even start on it. And then after going through the course, be like, I got this. Like, at least I'm getting going. It's not as bad as I thought, and they're finding success.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. That would be probably the biggest feedback I get back is, oh, this isn't as hard as I thought it would be. I really try to leave a lot of even like the technical verbiage and stuff out of my SEO class. It's not, an SEO class to become someone who does like SEO professionally. It's SEO for small business owners that don't have a ton of time, that wear every single hat. So it's probably the biggest, and I spent a number of years teaching at, conferences and workshops and doing a ton of one-on-one master classes. So I was able, before even putting out the online class, to kind of know what people were looking for, what was just like kind of over their head, or just like they didn't need to know. And I sort of sifted that all out to make it, just like a quick and easy way to take something that took me like 5 years of like digging through random blog posts and YouTube videos to figure out. And instead it's like, you can sit down and learn it in a day or 2 and be up to speed with what you can do for your business, like for real, around the content and website you already have.
Awesome. Cool. So I love the name. SEO is fun.co. That is great, because that is like what it needs to be for people to love it.
Yeah.
So
it needs a little rebrand. Yeah.
No, it's cool though. So SEO is fun.co is where you want to go if you want to learn from the best. So that is awesome. All right. So do you have any like parting advice for the community with SEO? Like any last like tip or trick, something they can do like right after they watch this? I don't know, something like that. I'm always trying to dig out little
bits,
little nuggets.
Yeah, totally. My biggest thing would be get started. At least on something, even if it's just reading. Just Google like SEO for photographers, and read a few things out there. Like even just getting started in the mental process, and knowing that you can learn it. It's not something that just certain people, who might have more of a tech lean or something can learn. Every single small business owner can do this, and can do it in a way that it is effective whilst not taking up too much of their time. And it can really, really pay off. So you can at least get started, sign up for Search Engine Journal's newsletter, kind of find, and just start getting that content a bit in front of you. And that's kind of something that over years and years of learning this, I went from not understanding like any of it and feeling very, very, very confused. And I just kept like right clicking on words and going like, definition, what does this mean? And then I brought my head up after a few years, and it was like kind of learning a language. So just exposing yourself to it is a great place to start.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was really enlightening, and I think it's really a great starting point for SEO. And I appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely. No, it's an honor. I know I've known of Blast of Labs and Kirk Mastin as much as as long as I've been researching SEO. So it's cool to have that come back around and be interviewed by yourself. So
awesome. I wish I would have had you in my corner when I was doing my wedding photography business. I would have saved literally years of time. So
I wish I would have had my class too. As weird as that is to say, like I really made because it was just years of being confused. So
cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. And have a great day. And enjoy it. It looks like it's nice and sunny there. So hope you have a good day.
Finally. Yeah, you too.